Hey everyone, and welcome to NFL Nexus. Out in the desert, in the middle of all the lights and noise of Las Vegas, one of the NFL's most iconic franchises has been, well, they've been completely lost. For years, the story of the Raiders has been one of pure chaos, of decisions that make you scratch your head, and a coaching carousel that's spinning so fast you'd get dizzy just watching it. But that script might finally be changing. A new face is in town, and he didn't just show up with a fancy playbook, he showed up with a brand new Super Bowl ring on his finger. Today, we are breaking down the massive hire of Klint Kubiak. We're going to look at the unbelievable instability he's walking into, we'll dissect his championship background, and we'll ask the big question, is this the guy who can finally build a winner in Vegas? All right, let's get into it.
So this right here, this is the moment the Raiders are pinning all their hopes on. Just try to picture it. Confetti is literally falling from the sky, the Lombardi trophies being passed around, and Klint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the champion Seattle Seahawks, is on the field trying to soak it all in. But even in that peak moment of his career, his mind was already jumping ahead. And get this, these weren't words from some stage press conference a week later. He said this on the field, right in the middle of all that joy and chaos after winning Super Bowl LX. That tells you everything you need to know about his mindset. He's relentless, always looking forward. He's not coming to Las Vegas coasting on an old victory. He is carrying the literal fire of a current championship right into a building that's been pretty dark for a long, long time. And for a team and a fan base just desperate for success, that immediate, real connection to winning, man, that's everything.
Okay, but before we get too carried away with all that championship energy, we gotta pump the brakes a little. Because to really understand how huge of a job this is for Kubiak, we can't just look at the bright future. We have to pull back the curtain and look directly at the absolute mess he's supposed to fix. You know, it's like, before an architect can build a brand new skyscraper, they have to go in and check out the condemned building that's already there, right? They have to understand every single crack, every weak spot in the foundation. And for the Raiders, believe me, the cracks run deep. This isn't just about a team that had a bad record last year. This is about an organization that has just been bouncing from one idea to the next, one leader to the next, creating this environment of constant whiplash for everybody involved. So let's start there. Let's look at the one thing that has truly defined the modern Raiders. And that right there brings us to the absolute heart of the problem, what we're calling the Raiders' revolving door. It's a crisis of consistency, and that's the perfect way to describe it. See, a revolving door isn't just about new names on an office door. It's like a poison that spreads through the whole building. It means players are constantly trying to learn brand new playbooks, new techniques, new cultures, a new way of doing everything. It means free agents look at your team and think, why would I sign a long-term deal there? And your draft picks, their development gets completely messed up because the scheme they were drafted for is gone a year later. For the Raiders, the head coaching job hasn't just been a little unstable. It has been the ground zero of all the franchise's problems. Now look at this, 6. Just let that number sink in for a second, 6. Since October of 2021, and that's not that long ago, just a little over 4 seasons of football, the Las Vegas Raiders have had 6 different head coaches. I mean, that's not just a new coach every season, that's more than one per season on average. It's just wild. It shows a total lack of vision, a lack of patience, from the very top. Just try to put yourself in the shoes of a player like Max Crosby. You've had 6 different bosses, 6 completely different sets of rules, 6 different grand plans for the future, all while you're supposed to be focusing on being one of the best football players in the world. It is organizational malpractice, plain and simple, and it's the #1 reason the Raiders have been stuck spinning their wheels for years.
All right, so let's walk through this timeline because the story of how they got to 6 coaches is almost as crazy as the number itself. It all kicks off in October 2021 with a sudden mid-season resignation of John Gruden after his email scandal. The whole season should have just fallen apart, but it didn't. Instead, the special teams coach, Rich Bisaccia, steps in as the interim guy and pulls off this small miracle. He rallies the team, they go 7-5, and make an improbable playoff run. The players absolutely loved him. But that wasn't good enough. The team went for a big name, hiring Patriots OC Josh McDaniels. That experiment was a complete and utter disaster, and he was fired halfway through the 2023 season after basically losing the locker room. So linebacker Antonio Pierce takes over as the next interim coach, and just like Bisaccia, the players rally around him. Stars like Devontae Adams and Max Crosby were publicly campaigning for him. But once again, the front office passed on the popular interim guy, this time swinging for the fences with the legendary Pete Carroll. That lasted one disastrous year. And now Klint Kubiak walks in as the 6th man in this insane parade with one job: finally stop the music.
And this slide, man, this slide right here, just perfectly sums up the Grand Canyon-sized gap between the world Kubiak is leaving and the one he is walking into. You're looking at two completely different football universes that existed in the same season. On the left, you have the 2025 Las Vegas Raiders, a team that was so broken it only won 3 games, and its biggest accomplishment was securing the #1 draft pick, the ultimate participation trophy for failure. Then, on the right, you have Klint Kubiak's 2025 Seattle Seahawks, a fine-tuned machine, executing at the highest possible level and ending their season by lifting the Lombardi Trophy. This hire is the first huge move from the Raiders' new leadership group. They didn't just go out and hire a coach. They went to the top of the mountain and they tried to perform a surgical procedure, extract a piece of that championship DNA, and implant it directly into their own failing organization. Okay, so with all that chaos as the backdrop, let's finally turn our attention to the man of the hour. Who is the person the Raiders are trusting to lead them out of this mess? Why do they believe Klint Kubiak can succeed where so many others have failed recently? His resume is a whole lot more than just that Super Bowl ring. It's about a life spent inside the game, learning from some of the most innovative offensive minds in the league, and a clear track record of making the players around him better. So he's only 39 and he brings that youth and energy, but his experience is really that of a seasoned NFL veteran. And his football education, it's basically second to none. He's the son of Super Bowl winning coach Gary Kubiak, so he didn't just watch football on Sundays. He grew up in it, absorbing the principles of that legendary Shanahan-Kubiak offense at the dinner table. And just look at this coaching journey. It's like a masterclass in getting diverse experience. He was the OC for the Vikings, working with guys like Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. Then he took on roles as a passing game coordinator, first in Denver, and then, and this is a big one, in San Francisco, where he got a front row seat to the Kyle Shanahan system, which is basically the most influential offense in the entire NFL right now. Then he took OC jobs in New Orleans and Seattle, proving he could adapt before winning it all. This isn't a coach who just knows one system. This is a coach who has collected knowledge from the best of the best. But it's not just about the resume, right? It's about results. And oh boy, did he get results. In his one season as the offensive coordinator in Seattle, his offense was absolutely elite. 3rd best in the entire NFL in points scored and 8th in total yards. But honestly, those raw numbers don't even tell the whole story. He did all of that with Sam Darnold at quarterback, who, even though he played well enough to win a Super Bowl, also happened to lead the league in giveaways. Now just think about that for a second. To have that many turnovers, which kill drives and give your opponent great field position, and to still have a top 3 scoring offense, that is a testament to an absolutely brilliant offensive scheme. It means your plays are so efficient, so resilient, that you can create enough explosive plays to make up for all the mistakes. It shows he can build a system that supports its players, not a system that needs its players to be perfect. Okay, so this is the part that every Raiders fan has been waiting for. What does all of this actually mean for the guys in silver and black? How does this impressive resume actually translate to winning football games in Las Vegas? Because, a great resume is one thing, but finding a great fit is something else entirely. And when you really look at Kubiak's core offensive beliefs, and you look at the young talent the Raiders have on their roster, you start to see something that looks like it could be a perfect marriage. All right, before we talk specific players, we need to get a little nerdy for a second and talk about a key concept in Kubiak's offense: 21 personnel. It's really simple. It just means you have 2 running backs and 1 tight end on the field at the same time. Now, that might sound kind of old school, but in today's NFL, it's a huge strategic advantage. And here's why. It puts the defense in a really tough spot. If the defense stays big with their linebackers to stop the run, well, Kubiak can use his passing game to pick on those slower guys. But if the defense subs in smaller, faster defensive backs to cover the pass, then Kubiak can just run the ball right down their throats. It's all about creating mismatches. And it's a formation you are going to see a whole lot of in Las Vegas. Okay, so now let's take that concept and apply it to the actual roster. This is where it gets really exciting. First, the run game. That Kubiak and Shanahan system is famous for its outside zone running scheme, the same one that made Kenneth Walker III a star in Seattle. It's practically designed to unlock a one-cut-and-go runner like the Raiders' young back, Ashton Jeanty. Next, remember that heavy use of 21 personnel we just talked about? Well, it is a dream come true for a player like Brock Bowers. Bowers isn't just a tight end, he's an offensive chess piece. That 21 personnel package lets Kubiak move him all over the place, in the slot, out wide, maybe even in the backfield, creating total nightmares for opposing defenses. And finally, and this is the most critical part, Kubiak is an offensive-minded head coach. His #1 job will be to finally solve the Raiders' quarterback problem for good, whether that means developing the young guy Fernando Mendoza or using that #1 overall pick to hand-select the quarterback he wants to build the future with. So we've laid out a pretty compelling case, right? We've seen the absolute mess Kubiak is walking into, but we've also seen the incredible resume he's bringing with him. The potential is absolutely there for a massive, fundamental shift for this franchise. But this is the NFL, and we are talking about the Raiders, so nothing is ever that easy. Despite all the optimism that comes with a new hire, there are still some huge questions hanging over this organization. Questions that go back not just a few years, but decades.
But then there's this, and I just want you to let this one sink in for a minute. The Las Vegas Raiders have not won a single playoff game since the 2002 season. That was the year they lost Super Bowl 37. They also haven't won a division title in that entire time. Just think about everything that's happened in the world since 2002. I mean, think about it. The first iPhone, still 5 years away. Facebook didn't exist. Tom Brady only had one Super Bowl ring. An entire generation of Raiders fans has grown up without ever seeing their team have any real, meaningful success. So Kubiak isn't just being asked to clean up the mess from the last few coaches, he's being asked to break a cycle of failure that has defined one of the most famous brands in sports for more than 20 years.
And that all leads us back to the one single, massive question that will define this new era of Raiders football. The organization has tried it all. They tried the legendary older coach, they tried the Patriot Way genius, they tried the beloved player leaders as interims. Now they've gone and hired a young champion, an offensive mastermind with a perfect resume. So after all the drama, after all the false starts, and all the broken promises, can Klint Kubiak finally be the guy to stop the revolving door? Can he and this new leadership group actually provide the patience and the stability it takes to build a real winning culture in Las Vegas? The potential is definitely there, but the weight of all that history is just immense. All right, that's going to do it for our deep dive here on NFL Nexus. We really want to know what you think. Is Klint Kubiak the right hire? Is he the guy who can finally turn the Raiders around for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more analysis like it, do us a huge favor and hit that like button. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you never miss one of our explainers. And hey, if you want to help support the channel, consider purchasing one of our coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, even for adults. You can find them by using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. Thanks so much for watching.